Senior of, yeah, recording in progress. Get
I just
rid of
started
you.
recording.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, so that's, stuff that I'm looking forward to.
Oh, yeah. Have you met your son's wife to be?
Yes. Yeah,
You like her?
because yeah, I like her very much.
Oh, good.
And I think that they're a good match for each other. They both derive their income online.
Hmm.
They're independent. Each one has their own business, so their economic deal is taken care of. They just signed a 1 year lease on the place where they're staying in Austin. And, and they've been to several other cities, and they can go anywhere. She gets, she's from Russia.
Oh,
And I think in March or April is when she gets permission from the United States to be able to leave the country and come back on a green card. So they'll probably, after a year, maybe go to Europe, and they both want to go and live in Italy for a while and stuff like that.
do they speak any Italian?
Uh, Richard a bit, and Richard, if he goes there, he'll learn a lot more. And she speaks some Spanish. They'll do well in any language.
How did she leave Russia?
Uh, she wanted to come to the United States, for many years. Finally, the opportunity came up.
Did it have anything to do with Richard or it was independent of him?
No, no, it was independent of him. They
Hmm.
didn't know each other. They met here.
So that'll make it easier for her that she marries a citizen, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it'll only be easier if she wants to become a citizen, which she probably will.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
May I ask what kind of business, what do they sell online or do online?
Richard tutors mathematics,
Hmm.
and most of his students are either high school kids who getting close to their finals, need help. Uh, but most of his work is with university and postgraduates. And she does work similar to what you do. She's a psychologist and well studied, and she does that online.
She does counseling online.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'm envious of anyone who can actually make money online.
You always hear about the young people on Instagram, influencers who make millions. I don't know how,
I know it's incredible.
posting catchy stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Has everyone else in this short amount of time that we're online, they haven't gone through, they haven't updated their activities, have they?
mm-mm.
Well, why don't you go to someone else besides me so I can hear what's going on as well?
Okay. Frank, what's going on?
Let's see, did I have a granddaughter when we
No.
last talked? We got a new granddaughter.
When did you
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah, so now I have three daughters and three granddaughters and two male dogs.
Wow. How
So
are the dogs?
dogs, unfortunately, are one of them is getting acupuncture.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I need the acupuncture more than he does, but I won't spend it on me. I'll spend it on him.
Yeah, I understand what you're
My wife and
saying.
I were just talking how stupid that is that, we
It
won't
is,
take care
it
of
is.
ourselves, but we'll pay for the dogs to get crazy
My
treatment.
insurance pays for all but $20 for
Yeah,
acupuncture.
really? Oh, well, I gotta find that insurance.
Yeah.
Is it for a hip problem, Frank?
It's for my back, yeah.
No, I mean for the dog.
Oh, for the dog, yeah. Yeah, he's got hip and neck and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I watched once and they stuck pins all over him.
Is
So,
he a big dog?
no, little dog, 25 pounds,
Oh,
26. He should be 25. So they told me he has to lose 5 pounds.
How does he react to the needles?
The minute we walk in there, he starts shaking and doesn't stop shaking till he gets back in the car. So, I mean, he could shake a milkshake if you still did that anymore. So, yeah,
Do they live near you so you can be involved?
yeah, the dogs, yeah,
how about your kids and grandkids?
all the kids live near us, yeah,
Oh,
Oh, that's
that's
nice.
yeah, that is nice.
yeah, yeah. No, so the baby is now about, I don't know, I think 6 or 7 weeks old now. So she's adorable.
Oh,
Yeah, but she has a single mom, so it's difficult.
Oh, that is difficult.
And her mom is 40, late 40s, so that's even more
whoa.
difficult.
And
How
she,
many other kids does that mom have?
0.
Oh, so it's her first and
First,
only.
yeah.
did
First and
she
only.
do artificial insemination?
No, she's adopted. She was designed by by my stepdaughter, and
So
she
they
could,
did like a surrogate
yeah,
and
surrogate.
an AI.
I I don't know. All I do is write the checks.
Yeah.
Well, that must have been, they have catalogs with sperm banks, like Nobel Prize winners. So
I
you could
think
like,
that's what she did. I think I call her the designer baby.
oh yeah. So you could say, okay, this guy has musical talent and
Right,
mathematical
right,
talent,
yeah,
blue eyes. I'm going for this guy.
yeah. So
Wow.
What does Pastor Bill think about that?
I really haven't looked at that very much.
Yeah,
Are you a pastor, Bill?
No, no, no.
Oh,
You mean city's a Christian?
Yeah.
yeah.
I think you came to my bar mitzvah, Bill. So,
I went to a lot of bar mitzvahs.
yeah.
I'm not
If you were too
prejudiced in
good
that
looking, I
regard.
wouldn't invite you to mine.
Yeah.
So that means that your stepdaughter's gonna depend on you a lot to be a male role model. Is that accurate? Oh, really, you help fund all the technology?
I guess so.
Well, I mean
It ain't-
circuits are not cheap.
No, they're not.
And Frank, did you participate in the designing?
No.
Oh,
I did that once with my daughter.
Um, that's fascinating.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
it'll be interesting to see if the baby is like a genius or something, if
right.
they picked a donor who was especially geniusy.
Well, the question is, how long how long will I be in her life? At our age, what do we have? 20 years maybe? So
What was I gonna say?
it's going to be tough.
Well, maybe she could meet a partner.
Yeah,
no, she's only a baby.
right.
49.
Yeah.
Oh no, I thought you were talking about the granddaughter.
No, I'm talking about her mom.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Did the surrogate live in LA?
No, I don't know where she was from. I really don't know a lot of the details.
Those are
I
juicy.
was kind of kept out of it, and kind of wanted to keep out of it. So
Oh. Hmm.
Where do you live, Frank?
I live in Westwood.
Oh, good.
Here.
And what do you do for fun?
For fun, I go on Zoom. I take classes.
In what?
And mostly in Judaism,
Hmm.
Jewish. Joel and I could have been on the same path, but I didn't want to be a rabbi.
Well, he's not either, but he
Yeah,
had 3
right.
years of rabbinical training.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Um,
Joel gave me my first job.
who did?
Joel,
Oh,
when I was when we were in Emerson, he said, "What are you doing on Thursday or Wednesday afternoon?" I said, "Not particularly anything." He says, "Well, I have a newsstand and I need help." So ended up selling newspapers on the corner of Westwood and I think Lynbrook.
did people give you tips ever?
No, they
Oh,
used to yell at me because I tried to turn the inventory and was giving them old papers that were an hour older than the new paper when they came for the new paper.
Oh yeah, nobody wants old news.
Right, yeah. You know, now the LA Times is published and it's like I think they stop reporting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, if not earlier. Yeah.
do you, since you had a camera shop for decades, do you do photography for
Hell
fun?
no. No,
No?
no.
Hmm.
Would eat all the profits. No, I was interested in the business part of it. And that was my way of participating. You know, it
But
was
you
just
had to know a lot about cameras.
I had to know what sells, what you need, how to sell it, and people would ask me my advice as to what's the better camera to buy, and for me it was basically which one I'd make a little more money on because
Jeez.
they were all so similar. It was like
Right.
such minor differences.
Mm.
I mean, between a Ford, a Chevy, and a Plymouth in our days, let's say, of certain models, there was a much difference. There was a style difference. That's all.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
uh,
And I asked everyone, I don't know if you took me up on it to do their Kiersey and Bates or temperament type. Did Frank, did you have a chance to do that?
I don't do homework.
Okay. Kent, did you do your Myers-Briggs, Kiersey and Bates?
Frank is my guru.
Okay. Bill, did you?
No, I've done enough of those in the corporate world. I didn't need another one.
Well, it's probably the one that you used in the corporate world because it's the most widely used.
We use Briggs. Well, I've been involved with several over the years, but Briggs was probably the most popular at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
So do you remember what your I'm guessing you're extroverted, sensing, thinking, judging.
I like that. I'll take that as gospel.
But you don't remember?
You know, I've been throwing things out, and I found a lot of those things the other day, and I threw them out without reading them
Oh,
because they really. I mean, it's fun to go back and look at it, but really not too relevant anymore.
hmm. Um, just for fun, what happened is Myers and Briggs were mother and daughter who developed a personality
Hey,
of
be quiet, you guys.
it's the most widely used. And then Kiersey and Bates were two people who developed a shorter form. And that's the link that I sent you. And there it's drawn from Carl Jung. So the first one is whether you're extroverted or intuitive, and I'm half and half. And the next one is whether you're sensing or wait, did I say it right? The first one is extroverted or introvert. I'm half and half. The second one is whether you're sensing or intuitive. I'm intuitive. The third one is whether you're thinking or feeling. I'm close but feeling. And the last one is whether you like open options or structure. And I'm really structured. Like people who are J on the last one, they are so into checking things off their list, they'll add something they've done to their list so they can check it off, even though they've already done it.
I can't find the lists when I make them.
So that leads to my next question. I find that I ask myself through the day, what have I gotten done? I thought that's kind of an interesting question. And I think, oh, I did the laundry, I worked on the book, I did some gardening. I don't know why so that's so important to me. So Kent, what do you find yourself asking yourself during the day? Do you have a question like that? Am I having fun? I don't know what other people ask.
My questions are more like if If I'm doing a difficult stone, work on a stone, how do I orient it? Where do I cut it? What angle do I need on it? Stuff like that. Uh, that's about it. That's how simple-minded I am.
So it's how to get things done that you're making.
Right.
Frank, what do you ask yourself, if anything?
Where the hell did I file this damn thing?
You don't care, Frank. You're just
Well,
making a joke.
no, I'm serious. It's
Oh,
really
sorry.
it's really a problem. You know, I write something or I'm still working. I'm doing property management and so there, I file things. I'm also on a couple of boards, volunteer boards. So and I write things and I file them and I can never find them. And so, I start doing it again and then I have trouble finding it again. And it's problematic. I mean, it's like I just sent out this, and I'm going to send it to you, Gail and Kent. Um, the propositions. Bill was on my list already, so but I have about 700 people on the list, so I have to go through the list all the time and get rid of dead people because I don't like sending email to dead people. And unfortunately, there's too many people who've died in the past, 3 years.
But don't some of those people don't they vote?
Yeah, they
No,
do.
they
Not in
don't.
California.
No.
In Chicago in the old days, yeah.
There's a mushroom called monks, something that's supposed to be really good for memory, really good for brain
uh,
acuity.
well, that's not the
Obviously, you
problem.
haven't
It's
taken
lost in
it.
the
You don't
computer.
remember the name.
Yeah. I mean, I spend more time finding stuff that I know where it is, but I can't find it where I know where it is. And it's just
Right.
drives me crazy.
I'm the same, Frank.
You
Yeah.
have folders with labels on them, right?
I have well, no, I'm using computer filing. So
Oh, then
not hard copies
I would
necessarily.
have manila
Well,
folder.
that's what I start doing too, but then sometimes I file it in the wrong file.
Well, then if then copy it
I'm
and
not
do
organized
both
like that.
files.
I'm organized in my head like that, but in practice, it's a different story.
Well, card copy is so easy because you can alphabetize it and then flip through and
Yeah,
see what's in it.
if you remember the alphabet.
Take the monk.
When you're working on creative projects, it doesn't always alphabetize easily. So,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
that's primarily what I'm doing.
Okay. Your turn, Bill.
Business wise, I usually can find it unless I misfile it, which
Good.
happens. So,
So Kent's asking, Bill, your turn. What's up?
Oh, I mean, what am I thinking about? Was that the question? And a lot of it revolves around the volunteer activities, primarily with the airport. Initiated a scholarship program for high school students, where we have to raise a lot of money because it's expensive to fly. But we have a lot of good people at the airport who are willing to make those contributions. And then the follow through is how do you keep these students motivated? They have so many other activities. Luckily, the ones that we have now kind of love flying, even though one's on the golf team, one's on the football team, and it goes on and on and on. So, and it's kind of a year-round responsibility. Once the scholarship students are identified, then to make sure that they proceed, and then keeping in touch with all the donors to let them know the progress the students are making, so that next year, starting in January, when I go out to raise more money, at least they'll say, well, you told me what you were going to do, you did it, and then you told me what you did, type of routine for donor communication.
What are you looking for a particular kind of major or minor career? I mean, are you looking for people who are going into aviation or just any college student?
It's students between the ages of 16 and 19, and they have to live within the San Ynez High School district because our airport The way our airport structure is set up, it's basically the same as high school district. So they have to go through an application process with recommendations from teachers. And then we have some professional pilots, myself and others, who will interview them. We would hope that they would make aviation a career, but it's not a requirement, because I think there's so many things you can do in aviation, from photography to journalism to flying. I think it's something to get them interested and focused on the aviation industry. But we have had, years ago, people that have ended up in the Air Force Academy. We had one young senior high school student that she was awarded a scholarship 2 years ago. Graduated from high school, studying aeronautical engineering at Stanford, and then at the same time, got other ratings, commercial rating, and now she's an instructor. And she came back and instructed some of our scholarship students for this year.
She's an instructor for the Air Force Academy?
No, she's still at Stanford. She just could, I think she's still in her freshman year.
Oh,
No,
wow.
she instructs privately. So there's someone who took advantage of it, and there's others who have done that, and there's other people who will probably never make aviation a career, but when you're in high school, that's hard to know exactly where you're going to go.
You knew, but most people don't.
Well, I knew I loved aviation, but I knew I didn't want to make it a career. Yeah.
And what percent of your applicants are male because of the aviation side?
This past year, it was about 50-50, and about the 4 best, it was 2 males and 2 females. And I would say the females at this point in time are probably better pilots.
Why is that?
They're just taking it more seriously. And who knows? I mean, they're all good. The females seem to be excelling more than the males. And that could be purely coincidental.
Well, that's really interesting, because there's more women that go to college. There's more women who are student leaders in high school. There's more women who graduate from college. There's more women who leave their parents' basement after college or whatever. And so people are talking about a boy crisis, and it seems like there is one.
Well, in the commercial pilot world, I think females only represent about 5% of commercial pilots. So I think what you're starting to see is that grows. So still a male-dominated career as far as that's concerned. But I agree with you on the other statistics. You certainly see that pretty common.
Yeah, I've flown a lot, and I've only had one woman pilot.
Yeah. And how did you feel about that?
Oh, you know me. I was like, yay. I'm so
You
happy.
you didn't feel it was a DEI hire?
No way.
Some of the airlines have now said, we want to promote more women and minorities, and they're creating, United Airlines is one of them. And so, what that does is when you walk in the cockpit and you see one of the identified minorities, you say, wow, were they a DEI hire, or were they really a good pilot?
Yeah.
And that's why the airlines should have never made any quotas for gender or anything else.
They didn't make
but
actual quotas, did they?
Oh yeah. Well, United Airlines said we're starting a school, and I forget what 50% have to be identified as non-white
Wow.
males.
Or female?
Yeah.
I think today also there's a lot less men going into piloting. And so it's become much more equal in that respect too.
Yeah. But they're finding the same problem in the medical schools. They're becoming very DEI sensitive and screening out
Right.
We're screening in people that maybe should have been screened out. So the people that are being awarded these scholarships are less qualified than the people who didn't receive the scholarship. Ironically, I saw that. I forget where that article was, but it was kind of scary.
Hmm. I think I've read studies that women physicians often have better outcomes simply because they listen to their patients.
I think there's a lot of truth to that, but I think that
Yeah.
study identified better outcomes with women, didn't it?
With women, yeah.
Yeah, with women, not so much with men.
Oh, you mean with female patients? Oh, I didn't see that. I just saw.
Yeah. I think that I could be wrong, but I thought that study was qualified for women, but
We'll have to look that up. That's interesting.
yeah.
Um, okay, so what is up with me? I am always working on a book, and so now I'm working on two, and one is non-pharmaceutical remedies for mental health issues with a focus on youth. So it's been really interesting interviewing young people with on the autism spectrum, with ADHD, with anxiety, that kind of thing. And then I'm always interested in alternative healing methods, and I have 300 pages of things like acupuncture, Reiki, visualization, cold therapy, things like that. And after having the ball of my hip replaced 4 months ago, I'm back in yoga, which makes me really happy, doing headstands. And I really love ballroom dance, but I've been a little reluctant to get started again because my balance is a little bit off. But I have to get going on that
Well,
because
good for you.
excuse, yeah. And I've been gardening a lot and trying to give things away.
Yeah.
So, like, I had a doll that someone gave me when I was a girl that was 1909 German porcelain face doll. And I was so happy because there's a place in Chico called Bidwell Mansion where the original European settler has this big historic mansion that's a state museum. And I was so happy that they took her. They said she's a little beat up. She had a missing finger and a missing toe. But I gave that. I had pearls that were my mother's, and then I bought in Japan. I gave those to my nieces. So I'm trying to think of things
Declutter.
that I can give away
Yeah.
after living in the same house for so long.
Yeah,
One
that's
or
why.
Dale, talking about health, are you familiar with Casey Means, Dr. Means,
how do you spell memes?
MEANS?
And
First name is Casey, CASEY.
why should we think about that person?
Well, within the last 2 weeks, she and her brother used to sell drugs, big pharma. Were on the Joe Rogan show for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. And they're talking about the issue of increased diabetes, obesity, cancer, and why is that happening? And I think they have a very, very good theory about it. And coincidentally, they became friends with Robert Kennedy Jr. and introduced him to Trump. And there's some great insights as to how that relationship developed and how sincere it was. So, but I think you being so interested in health, this will be kind of,
Well,
if you don't know it already, kind of eye-opening.
So are they like they say the problem is inflammation underlies a lot of diseases like cancer, and that's because our diet is so poor and the pesticides and chemicals in the diet. What
Yeah.
what does memes say?
Basic, I mean, a lot of that is her position that there are 10,000 chemicals in the United States that are in our foods, and there's only 400 in Europe. And you go on from there, and all processed foods with the amount of sugar they have in them, and how unhealthy that is, and that their position is that's the contribution to the serious health problems that the United States is suffering from.
Yeah.
And and her brother, who used to sell drugs, showed some interesting relationships, how big pharma, you see these advertisements on TV for drugs that you don't even know what they do. Well, it's not for the patient, it's so they can control the media, but they are the largest advertiser in most media companies. And that way they can control their message, because as a patient, you have no idea what the drug is about. And then you look at the disclaimers on TV and you'd be scared to take it. Yeah. Anyway, I think it would be of interest to you.
Oh, yeah, thanks. So I've read that all of us our bodies are full of microplastics from
Right.
they're in our skin cream or shampoo and in what we eat. And I wonder what that does to our body.
Well, I think that's known, or at least there's a lot of people who think they know what that does to your body, and I forget, but it's not good.
Yeah.
But the question is, how do you avoid it? I mean, it's so rampant that
One thing I do, is when I am cheating and microwave like a frozen dinner that I got at Trader Joe's, I take it out of the plastic and put it in a china dish.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frank, what's your thinking on why Americans are overweight and unhealthy to an amazing degree?
Processed food and exercise.
Yeah.
I do both poorly.
Uh,
I do the first very well and the second not so well.
Michael Pollan at Berkeley says we should eat only that which our grandparents would be comfortable with, which makes sense.
Meat and potatoes and overboiled vegetables. Did any of you have Brussels sprouts when you were kids that were just absolutely atrocious compared to today?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I used to, my father had to throw me in the closet because I wouldn't
Eat the
eat the
Brussels
Brussels sprouts. Yeah, and today I love them because people learned how to cook them.
Right.
But my mother boiled them and they tasted like medicine, I always thought. And that was,
That's a little severe to put you in the closet for not eating.
well, he was a Prussian Jew. What can I tell you? He was very strict. Made it very difficult.
And then how did you correct that with your own children?
I didn't force them. I made them go to bed hungry, that's all.
Oh,
But thankfully my daughter was a good eater, and and I wasn't around for the stepdaughters who aren't good eaters.
I don't remember any food hassles. My mother was a really good cook, partly because that's what my father praised her for the most, I would say.
Yeah.
Good dinner.
Yeah.
I don't remember hassles around food because she was such a good cook. The
Yeah.
thing I do remember that surprised me is she would have like lettuce under some kind of salad and then throw it down the garbage disposal. So I'm really keen on composting. None of my food gets wasted. It goes to the chickens. It goes
Remember
to,
when we got garbage disposals?
remember what?
When we got garbage disposals, I kind of remember that we didn't have garbage disposals
I don't
as a
remember.
little kid, and then all of a sudden this was, I mean, if you think of it, the 80 years that we've lived through, there's just been such a revolution in stuff that it's just, I mean, I think we've lived through the best 80 years of our of life, and it's we could even buy a home for a reasonable price and things like that. It's I hate to say what we're leaving our kids.
Mm.
Yep.
I think of my parents bought their lot in Benedict Canyon for $5,000.
Yeah,
And I think they built the house for maybe 30.
yeah,
And it was architect designed.
yeah. My mother told me they were auctioning off lots in Westwood at the Village Theater, early. I mean, they moved there in 44, 45, just after I was born. And she remembers they were not auctioning, your ticket stub. You could get a lot for your ticket stub at one of the theaters.
What?
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what my mother told me.
Huh.
That you could get a lot in Westwood for, with your ticket stub. They were auctioning off a lot in Westwood to get people to go to the movies on Saturday night. I guess I don't know what I was probably still pooping in diapers.
Hmm. So what other changes? I think the computer's been huge. I
Well,
wrote
the
my
television,
television.
you know, we were the last on the block to get the television, and
Yeah, we were too.
we read books and played games and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
we
And
did imagination.
yeah, I mean bicycles. We rode bicycles on the
We rode
street. And,
bicycles like crazy.
yeah,
Far.
yeah. I mean, I can't believe now when I'm driving that I was driving that I was riding a bicycle on Sunset Boulevard. Where it's crazy today.
And your parents didn't worry about it.
They didn't know about it. I was going to tell them. I mean, I didn't think it was dangerous, so why would I tell them?
Right.
We
Joni
were,
Klein and I would ride our bikes down Benedict Canyon
right.
to Harold Lloyd, the old movie star, had a huge estate, and we would sneak on and
Where
look
was
at
that?
like his
On Benedict
pool.
also?
It was what?
On Benedict also,
Yeah, it was
before
in
sunset?
Benedict Canyon, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And we'd
Before,
ride our bikes all the way down.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't think our parents worried.
No,
We roamed the hills, we roamed, we rode our bikes,
yeah,
all the moms were home, so you could
right,
go to Mrs. So-and-so's house and they
right.
were, I don't think our parents ever worried.
Do you hear anything about John?
Steady state that I haven't heard of any changes. And I heard Ellen Goodman's in the same predicament.
Oh,
I
really?
mean, Ellen, what was her
Newman?
Newman.
Ellie Newman?
I didn't know her.
How about Randy Newman? Does anyone know anything about Randy?
Yeah, I talked to Roger a couple of days ago, and Randy's getting better. He was immobilized, had neck problems, had a whole bunch of issues, and it appears that he can go out. Roger's trying to get him out to go to dinner or something, but his wife went to the hospital with something else. I forget. So she's in the hospital, so he couldn't leave. Anyway, he's gone through a lot. It pretty much stopped his. He was going to do a one man performance in Broadway, and that had to be canceled because he couldn't play the piano.
Does he feel that he'll be able to go back to work?
I don't know. It may be kind of early to know.
What
Yeah.
about Dave Kuhn? Have you heard about him? How he?
Yeah, I talked to him lately. He's still active.
Okay.
He's got Parkinson's, and he's got the handshakes, but still fully functioning.
Well,
Johnny?
he's always had a real positive attitude
Yeah,
about everything.
yeah,
He's got a good wife.
yeah,
That
very good.
helps.
Yeah, she's great.
Really helps to have a supportive partner.
Yeah.
Anything else on anyone else's mind?
I've got one more political question if you'll take it.
Oh, I love it.
So Kamala was on The View, and the question was, would you have done anything different during your 3.5 years with
She
President
said no.
Biden? And she
Yeah.
said no.
Right.
So
It's a tough question for someone like that. I mean, think of it. I mean, if I were asked that question and and I was serving as a vice president, which is a nothing job, and how, what
What can you
can you
say?
say? What can you say? How can you say, well, I would have done this different or that different,
Then you should have done it.
yeah, but you couldn't because you weren't in the position to do it. So,
Yeah, and that would be the excuse that as the
Yeah.
vice president, you have no
Yeah.
power. But
Yeah.
she says I wouldn't do anything different. So
Yeah.
that begs the question.
I agree.
The border is wide open.
Yeah.
And we've had, depending upon who you're talking to, it's somewhere between 10 and 20 million illegal aliens come across the border, and 6 to 800,000 criminals known in that group. So another 4 years, you get another 15, 20 million people. How is that healthy for the United States?
Well,
Hey, Bill.
she said she wants to control the border.
Yeah,
She
but
doesn't advocate an open border.
yeah, but you can't believe her because she never advocated for that in the past.
Well, they're not going to advocate, I mean, Vance has also, said some nasty, nasty things about Trump. And today it's like, he walks
Hitler.
on water. So it's,
Good
when
point.
you're in that position, you can't just, you do. You have
Think of
to,
your career.
yeah, it's like politics is not based on honesty on any side.
That's
But
You know,
do you
and-
believe she would? Do you believe she would build a wall and close the border?
I believe she would do a lot more than was done. I think they learned a lesson. I think they learned a big lesson, and that's why they've taken action now, and they have very little coming across the border now. So it's politics is a whole thing of compromises. One of the problems we have today is so much is based on one little thing you do wrong, and you're excoriated forever. I mean, I'm listening to some of the ads on television for some of the Congress people. Every one of them who's running for Congress is some kind of crook or another, and one guy defended a rapist. Well, an attorney's job is to defend. If you're a criminal attorney, what are you going to defend God? You can't.
Yeah.
So
So
it's-
yesterday, Kamala wrote a book in 2009, and they found a bunch of plagiarism in it.
Well,
And
so
now
you
that's
could have written, you could have done that about every term paper I turned in high school.
Hey, Bill,
yeah.
if you were in her shoes, how would you have handled that situation?
the view.
I think I would have been very honest, because I think what you have to do is show that she says it's time to change, but she hasn't said anything that would change anything. So I think I would say, well, we had this border, we had 94 executive orders to totally vacate everything that President Trump had done, resulted in maybe 15 or 20 million coming across the border. It's created all types of problems. If I'm elected, I would, put up the wall and close the border. I mean, I don't think she would be criticized for that, or who would criticize someone for creating a border? I mean, if you don't have a border, you don't have a country.
Yeah.
So-
I tend to agree. I mean, I being the child of immigrants who made it out of Germany just in time, I'm very sympathetic to people leaving the country. But part of the problem is, frankly, our immigration policy is pretty bad too.
Yeah.
And
Everybody agrees
that
with that.
and there was a bill to improve it and improve the
That Trump
Borders, and
vetoed.
yeah, so that was also vetoed. So you can criticize one part or the other part, but at the end of the day, politics means compromise, and you have to sit down and beat your heads against the wall and work out some compromise. And if you're not willing to sit down and do some compromise, you're more at fault than the other person.
Yeah. And traditionally, the
yeah.
parties have done that. They would duke it out and then compromise, and that
I
was
mean, that's the other thing that's changed in the last probably 25 years, not the 80 years that we've been alive, but in the last 25 years, politics is, it used to be that, the Speaker of the House and the President would sit down and hammer out something, even though they were opposing parties, they would hammer something out that they
Yeah.
both could work on and they'd get something done. But today it's, it's either all or nothing on both sides, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I have to play canasta now because that's the God-given gift to humanity that I have to do. So I'll see you next time. Gail, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh,
And
thank
I
you
really
guys for
appreciate
showing
it.
up. And
Yeah,
we'll
it's-
we'll see you all in November. My
All
God,
right.
time flies.
Frank,
Okay.
thanks again for doing the analysis.
Yeah.
I agree with
I
you
li-
on
I-
almost everything.
Yeah, I want your feedback. So I really want
Yeah.
feedback on those. So,
Well, I'm yes for 34 and 36, and I think I'm no
Yeah.
on everything else, and I think
yeah,
you were similar except with a couple of question marks.
yeah, 34, I think I don't remember what I was on that
Kent,
one.
next time show us your jewelry.
Okay, hey, Frank,
Yeah,
Frank, don't forget to send me that email. Don't put my Kent Goodman into a different folder.
okay. I have it on my list right
All
here.
right, guys.
Here's my
Yeah, oh,
list.
now
You can't
where
even
did
see
I
it.
put my list, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for
Okay.
showing up. I appreciate
All
it.
right.
Okay,
Thanks,
take
guys.
care. Bye-bye.
Have a